All right, we're back again, and we're going to cover this Brian Flores thing from our perspective. And we've already had a little bit of a discussion about this. What was it? Like a couple days ago? Like Friday, Thursday?
It was last week.
Last week.
We had it for the whole week, so.
Well, we played a poker game on Saturday, so maybe it was Saturday. I don't remember the day.
Definitely before Saturday.
Yeah, what am I thinking? Anyway, the important point is, when I first saw it, I was kind of disappointed. One, because I like Brian Flores. I like what I saw out of Miami and how he managed to keep them competitive in spite of the QB controversy. Because right now it's Tula that's over there, Tagovailoa.
Yeah,
right?
just Tula.
And you know, there's been some struggles, some ups and downs, but I've seen some good positive things out of there. And so for me, it didn't make sense that they were moving from him. And then, you know, obviously he was a front runner for the Texans, which I liked. Mm-hmm. Get him over here. And I thought that might help bridge that rift between, you know, the organization and Deshaun. And then when he came out with all that information about, you know, how the NFL has been treating, and I don't even want to use it as a race thing either, and I know that people are going to use the demographic and the percentages, and I've heard it all, and this is my take on it. In any business, especially one that's around sports or something fun, people want to surround themselves with like-minded individuals. The problem is that a lot of these higher-up people, they have small circles. So there's only a few people that they really want to work with. Now, could there be a racial component to it? I'm not going to lie, there could be.
Yep.
Right? There could be. But I don't think it's in the scale that they're trying to allude to, is my take on this. But the numbers don't help them, because when you compound the amount of head coaches that are currently in the league, 32 teams, right. Then you go with the coordinators, that's 64. Mm-hmm. And that's just in the league. That doesn't count the assistants. That doesn't count the special teams.
Right.
That doesn't, I mean, the linebacker coaches, the QB coaches, the receiver coaches, everything that gets divided from there. And then you start adding head coaches from all the major colleges. They're in trouble. There is a legitimate, and then of course the Rooney Rule, which has been implemented.
Right. And
then you compound that by, you know, and I'm not really a fan of being forced to do something, because take a look, it basically gives you, okay, well I'm going to do it because you're forcing me to. You're not giving them a legitimate chance. So it's kind of I don't know, it's counterproductive in my mind. So I'm going to take a step back because I've spoken my mind. But for me, I mean, the fact that they pointed out that when everybody was fired and let go, only Tomlin was left standing.
Right, because Tomlin is what the Rooneys want.
Yep. I think he's solid. I mean, we saw his stats not too long ago. Not a single losing season. Everything's been 8-8 or better.
So he's proven.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I would use... So to counter that would be Brian Flores. So he's a good head coach and everything, but he has some losing seasons.
Yes.
Right. So in the Dolphins' eyes, I would say that they're thinking, okay, we don't want in the Dolphins' eyes, they're just trying to get the entertainment value, the sports entertainment and everything in there. Yeah. They're trying to get back to the playoffs. They're trying to do this. They're trying to do that. And
maybe trying to do too much.
Right. They're doing too much too soon. So when you had the head coach, and the thing is Brian Flores is like Bill Belichick. The Patriots weren't right off the bat like, hey, we're the number one team in the league and all that stuff. Yes, on Tom Brady's rookie year, they won what's his rookie? No, second year. On Tom Brady's second.
No, this is rookie year. He came in and
for Drew Bledsoe. Yeah.
Yeah, late that season.
So Tom Brady, not everybody's gonna have that season story. I mean that story. So you have a guy that came from him and won. I think he won the Super Bowl. He won the Super Bowl. Yeah, he won the Super Bowl with him. So he knows how to win. Mm-hmm. So instead of letting that guy mold your team, at least get your players to where there's a winning environment. a winning environment in your losing organization, because all y'all know is how to lose. So, because what's about Jarvis Landry, who went to the Browns, came from the Dolphins. A lot of y'all good players came from y'all team and went somewhere else and were winners to a certain extent. So with that being said, when you let him go to hire a 38-year-old assistant coach.
Well, he was an OC.
Okay, offensive
but we're
coordinator.
talking barely.
You're right.
Barely.
But it'd be different if you got, what's his name? The one, Kevin O'Connell under McVay.
Yeah.
And McVay says, yeah, he calls half the plays.
Or
that's one thing.
Or even Doug Peterson.
Or even
Anthony Lynn was available.
Anthony Lynn. It'd be different if you got somebody that called half the plays, or Eric Bieniemy. Or somebody like that, cool. You got a person who has no history or record of calling a single play in any games because he sat behind an offensive-minded guru who calls his own plays. He admits he calls his own plays. So that's who you make your head coach of your organization. But you let go of a guy who sat behind one of the greatest coaches ever and came to your organization, had a losing season, came back the following year, had a winning season, and then got you into the playoffs. And you fired him. For whatever magical reason. And he sat there and did with the quarterback you chose. Because everybody knew he wanted Herbert.
Hey, and let's not forget a very damning element of this whole thing. I mean, not only is he suing a few of the teams for the precursory obligation of doing the interview for outside sources, but he's got allegations, and apparently he wouldn't make this without proof about being paid to
lose. To take. Because they want draft picks.
And don't get me wrong, it's like, I understand that a competition league, there should be an element of integrity.
Yeah, integrity.
Okay. But when it comes to building franchises, building teams, sometimes tanking can be a valid strategy. Because if you can tank to get the draft pick that you want, yeah, it hurts you that year, but it builds you a potential dynasty.
Right, but it'd be different if you're 2-14. You're not 2-14.
No.
You're almost in the playoffs. So you don't need to tank. You don't need to tank. That means your team is strong enough to survive on its own with what they got. You don't need to tank. So why?
And I think that, him standing up for himself, and even if it was just him, that would be bad enough. But now you've got Hugh
Jackman.
Hugh Jackman. No.
I mean Jackson. Is it Hugh Jackson?
It's
Hugh Jackson. Hugh Jackson.
Yeah.
Hugh Jackson.
Not the Wolverine.
Yeah. Yeah.
And honestly, this is without drinking.
I know, right? This is pineapple juice.
This is just coming off of a really long work day.
I know, right?
It's Monday. What can we do?
I know.
So Hugh Jackson, former head coach of the Cleveland Browns, he had similar stories. Now, I'm not saying that he's going to be the only one that adds on to this. I think we might see more coaches and coordinators coming out of the woodworks on this.
Yeah.
Which, how sad is this? Could be another concussion type thing blowing up in their face. What do you think?
But it makes sense because think about it this way: like the current, the head coaching position right now in Miami.
Oh yeah.
Who makes that call? You're like,
well,
why?
Normally, and it's like, okay, I get that owners can be. Well, of course, let's take a look at where this started. This started with oil money, right?
Oh yeah.
Back in the day,
yeah.
Right? People that had so much money they didn't know what to do with, so they wanted to have some fun, and they paid people to run around and chase a pigskin. That was it. And then I swear they probably never in their wildest dreams imagined that it would get this big, but it did. But when you have a bunch of good old boys that formulated this off of only tens of thousands of dollars and now grew it into $2 billion industry, it's insane.
Yep.
And they want to keep it fun. They want to keep it lighthearted, and they want to work with people they want. So I don't doubt for 1 minute that these owners will be like, you know what, I like this guy, I want this guy. And they can't get Jerry Jones. I mean, how many times can people say, And he doesn't care. He throws
He
money
does
at
not
it,
care.
and he goes out and gets who he wants.
Yep.
And so I don't fault them for this, because this is not your normal average, corporation, right? And yes, I believe the best candidate should get the job. But when it comes to chemistry, right? Because when you have normally, who should hire the head coach? It's the GM. Owners shouldn't care. I wish every owner could be like Kraft, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is the trend is to be like Al Davis. The trend is to be like Jerry Jones. That's the trend. And the thing is, Al Davis is
Just
Al
win,
Davis.
baby.
Al Davis is Al Davis.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry Jones is Jerry Jones. You're not going to mimic those two. Those are those two personalities, and those organization gets those two personalities. The Texans trying to do that and trying to mimic a whole, like the Texans trying to, I'm going to use the Texans for example because I just saw the jersey on my body. So the Texans are trying to mimic the Patriots, period. Mm-hmm. We've known this for years. It's not working.
Well, and once again, it's, when you try to copy, the best analogy I can think of with my limited brain power right now is poker. All right? Everybody has a different personality. Everybody has a different style. I'm not saying that you can't take elements of someone's style or strategies and try to make them your own, but you're not going to execute them the same way they do it.
No.
And they're probably doing the same thing. They're going to be looking at other people that they admire and they mentor and take things that they do and implement it in their own game. And that's what you have to do. You have to take something and make it yours. If you live on copying other people, it's not going to work. You're going to come off as a fraud, and more often than not, because it's not yours, you're not going to see it through properly.
And then you're not going to care about it as much because at the end of the day, it's not your original. It's not your original idea. So to piggyback off your example,
mm-hmm.
So if I'm going to copy Bill Belichick's defense, right, which is pretty much what they did because they run a 3-4 defense,
yep.
Right. So you have to think like Bill Belichick. You have to. Because he runs a scheme that he thinks and he sees it. I want this outside linebacker to bring pressure here because he's a right-handed quarterback, and I know he's going to. He's going to bounce off to the left. I already have my guy here.
Yep.
If that's how he's thinking, but you do the same thing and not know that concept, it just looks like you. So when the pressure is supposed to come here, but it comes here, he paddles off this way and runs for a touchdown. You're like, wow, how did that happen? Mm-hmm. So you can't do that. Same thing with the colors. The colors are almost similar. This stuff is more red than another color. And then you go get and you peel off their organization. So it just makes it look so obvious.
Amendola. Wasn't there another Cooks?
Yeah, Cooks, Amendola, Burkhead. At one point you had the quarterback. You had Brian Hoyer. You had Ryan Mallett.
The big QB.
Romeo Cornell was our defensive coordinator for our 3 Super Bowl runs. Mm-hmm. You had O'Brien here. Then now you got Esteby and Caserio. Like what more do you want? You might as well, instead of just beating the bush, make a play for Bill Belichick himself. That's just me.
I don't know. I mean,
just make a play for him.
And
I will give you Deshaun Watson for Bill Belichick right there.
Kraft may take that. Well, I mean, but see, okay, and you're a big Belichick New England fan. How much longer do you think Belichick's going to stay in? My thing is, right now he's seeing the competition of how fast can I get back to the Super Bowl?
Well, so
because now it's the big question. It's still not answered. Is it Brady or is it Belichick?
He has to win one without Brady. He's not going without winning one without Brady.
Yeah. And
because he got this far with Mac Jones, I think he got some
2 years removed from Brady, and he made a solid play at the playoffs.
So now he's going back to the drawing board.
Yep.
I think he got at least 5 more years in him to get back. He's got within the next 5 years.
And if he builds the right team, do you think you could do back to back?
I don't know about back to back because Bill Belichick has a problem with mobile quarterbacks. That's why Allen ran all over. That's why he got Cam Newton, because Cam Newton is the only quarterback he's never beat. Yeah.
Well, obviously mobile quarterbacks just don't fit the system. So
yeah.
But anyway, so that's what we got on the Brian Flores. I'm intrigued to see how this plays out because the NFL does have a lot of explaining to do.
Oh yeah, the Brian Flores thing. So to.
Oh, you really forgot what topic we were
I
on?
forgot what topic. So
Okay, so we're gonna wrap this up.
I went on that rant, but real quick. So in the Brian Flores situation, I'm not gonna say it's not about race either. What I am gonna say is the hiring practices probably need to change if you're trying to be a so-called diverse environment. Because to me, if you say what you already, let's say, hey, I hire people like me or think like me, I can understand when I'm applying. But if you're sitting there saying, hey, we're a diverse environment, we accept all newcomers of any kind, then that's where you run into this situation. So either say what you are, or say what be what you say, or say what you really are. Is where I'm at. I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not saying race wasn't in play. Like you said, billionaires, people with money, and they made that money, and they got that money. Those are the hardest people to talk to, especially you telling them what to do with their money. So if you tell me I have to hire this guy, I'm going to do like the Rooney Rule. So you have to interview him, right? That doesn't mean you have to hire him.
And it's got to be what? It was like the Rooney Rule is you have to do at least one from outside your organization.
Right,
okay.
Right. So as long as they did that one that one interview, they're good.
They're good.
That's why Eric Bieniemy shopped around. All I got to do is interview him. Boom, we're good. We satisfy the Rooney Rule. Boom. That's all they're going to do. You have to understand they're billionaires for a reason because they always look for the loopholes. They're going to find a loophole no matter what. Unless you sit there and say, hey, you have to hire this guy. And guess what? Nobody has the power because the owners are called owners. They own the NFL. Goodell and them, those are his bosses. He's not going to sit there and say, hey, boss, you got to do this with your money. They're going to say, well, you're fired.
Now granted, a lot of these teams, they don't, because it takes so much to buy a team. Like right now, a side note, Broncos up for sale for about $4 billion, right? Not many people can come up with that money unless you're like George Soros or Bill Gates or, I don't know. Can you think of somebody else? Maybe one of those sheiks over in
our prince from
Arabia. I don't know. But, so a lot of them are groups, right? They come together, they pool their money. I know that's what they did for the San Francisco, or for the Rams when they were in St. Louis.
Oh, yeah.
Also, I think Miami Dolphins did that for...
Yeah, there's multiple owners.
There's multiple owners because I believe the Venus and Serena Williams.
And Jennifer Lopez, Mark Anthony.
Yeah, a lot of people pooling their money. They want a piece of it because even though it's $1 billion, they're getting a nice return every year.
Yes, they are.
And because of all the stuff that they do for charities,
it's
tax write-off. Whenever you take a loss, tax write-off.
Especially at the stadium, tax write-off.
Tax. So anyway, definitely an interesting situation. I'm looking forward to seeing how it plays out. And either way, there's going to be some changes down the stretch.
You will hope there are changes.
I hope for the best because
they could easily put this under the rug.
Oh yeah, they may.
Because it's the head coaches, nobody really pays attention to the head coach. Like I said, outside the Sean McVays.
Well, we always call it the coaching carousel for a reason.
Yeah.
If you do too good at your job, you're going to get hired on somewhere else. And if you don't do good in your job, you're going to get let go.
That's why I said the Rams won. The Rams are in the Super Bowl because Sean McVay. When you watch him on the sideline, you're like, oh, what's he doing? Oh, he catches your attention. He just catches your attention, and that's what they're looking for all across the sidelines. Not only with the players, but with the coaches too.
Which is sad.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's our thoughts. Like, subscribe, comment below. Let us know what you think.
All right.
We're out.